Hello. So before we go into how the millennials are behaving, I think it's important to know, to understand how Singapore population is like in the last 2018 SingStats figures. After that, we will then talk about how millennials are reacting, what are actually millennials, and then we will talk about how it will affect your sales process. Thanks. And then how it will affect your sales process and your marketing in today's market. So I took out some slides from SingStats. Just now when I was compressing the slides, some of the words and figures actually run, but you can still see. So from SingStats, our total population now is 5.64. That consists of your citizens, your PRs, and also your foreign workers that are living in Singapore, okay? And the median age that you can see is increasing slightly, inching up. The average age in Singapore now, we are looking at about 40 years old, 40.8, right? This is one important figure that we always take to tell agents, because if you see the median age, you will probably see a swelling and a bulk of the number of where the population is swelling up. And with that, you know where your main target audience is, and that's how the methods, the tools, and your marketing should be shifted towards where the bulk of population. And that's what we have been tracking year on year to train agents on how they should be looking at the market. And this one, so you can see the qualification level in Singapore has inched up also. You can see that there's a drop in education level below secondary, but above your tertiary, which is your post-secondary and diploma university, you can see that the number of people that are being educated has increased over the years. This again is a very important portion on how we run our business. In the past, you probably can smoke your way through without a lot of facts and figures. Buyers are not that educated. But today with the internet, with the transparency of information and how fast you can get information and the education of purchasers, it is a very key criteria for agents like yourself to build knowledge. And like what Zach said, knowledge and action is the other portion. So reading the market, going into a product, even for resale, it is no longer like the past on showing people that, hey, this is your kitchen, this is your living area, like who doesn't know about that, right? So resale has also come into a very big change and a shift in presentation methods about how you are marketing the resale units. If you see the recent influx of videos on resale units, videos transcend from just showing off the units to now you start to see people are adding on slides of surrounding selling angles, what are the master plan coming in their videos. Similarly, in presentation on resale, it adds on quite a bit of project selling techniques into resale to move units faster. So these are little trends that we are reading and we are trying to keep ahead of the market. Let's look at the next one. This one will actually affect the people you are targeting and the size of the units you are selling. When the shoebox units and compact units in Singapore was first released, I think about maybe 10 years back, people thought shoebox compact units would not be sustainable because they feel that it's not livable, it is not practical, which is why there were a lot of talks during that time, shoebox will not be good, blah, 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 there's a bubble coming up. But as the population trend changes and how Singaporeans are reacting, these are stats that will show you that even until now, you see compact units, sales figures are creeping up even better than your usual big units. I'll show you later, so there's a shift in HDB dwelling units and stuff. So, of course, this is a social trend that we are seeing. Number one, you can see that the couples that have their living arrangement, right, without children, and couple with children, and those who are living alone, you can see that those with one child or living alone has actually increased substantially in terms of the dwelling. And that's something that's very important because that's our social trend. All of you enjoy the process but don't want the end result. Okay, do you get me? Our replacement rate is quite scary. I think a couple in Singapore is replacing Singapore's population at only about 1.16 now. So we are not even replacing 1:1, and this trend will continue further. And this is the part where your compact units, your smaller units will always be in demand and increasingly also. So let's look at the next few charts. Residential household by selected type of dwelling. You can see over here, this is only a very small shift, but you can see that the shift from HDB percentage have been passed on more towards your condominiums. Reason? Education level increase, like I showed you just now. Affluence in the country increased through education. Exposure to the world led to the shift of upgrade percentage into condos more into HDB. So these are the trends that are all interlinked when you study SingStats figures, okay? So we look at this, even for HDB, this one was quite surprising, because if you look at HDB, the total number of HDB dwellings for 1 and 2 bedrooms actually increased from 5.8% to the current 6.1%. So you can see even for HDB, right, the smaller units are increasing in demand, and you realize that the bigger units over here has dropped. Not significant, but if you let it run across a period of maybe say 5 to 10 years, you probably see a significant shift in the type of dwelling units in Singapore. And there's a contradicting part now, right? Because the last month, or probably a few months back, government is trying to restrict number of smaller units or so. So this is the thing that we are watching and see how the market is going to shift accordingly. This high propensity of Singaporeans having only 1 kids or even 0. So you can see the 10-year difference in 2008 and 2018. Couples with 1 child has increased from 18% to 23%. And you have also seen that couples with no children has increased from 8.2 to a total of 12%. So this is the kind of figures that will show you that when you are doing your marketing, so this topic is very broad. So I'm just going to try and drop hints here and there, and you will be able to pick up these trends that will affect how you are going to do your marketing. Similarly, if a lot of you are doing, say, your open listings in resale, even moving forward for your social media marketing in Facebook or internet, all this can be very deliberate into what kind of dwellings you are targeting. What kind of products you are pulling in for yourself? Are you pulling in the smaller units that will probably fly off the shelf faster? Is our social media marketing targeted at families or young couples or the median age of about 40, and majority of them are not married? So that's how targeted your marketing can be in today's market. And a lot of you, I still see on Facebook and social media, I still see a lot of the marketing are on very general campaigns. You just talk about this launch, that there's a number of units, good price, this area, near MRT, and that's it. The ad is there. But you can dig deeper to target even more specific into shouting out to couples, into big families, so on and so forth. Based on the trending that you see upcoming, where the demand will fall strongly, you inch your chances higher, you get better results. Okay, so let's move on to the next one I show you. Even this is the one I'm showing. So I'm wrong. It's not 1.16, it's 1.14 now. So the fertility rate in Singapore is scary. Each female is each couple is replacing about 1.14 now. Let's look at the age that's swelling in the population pyramid. Okay, so the different lines that you see across the years. Look at the darkest line of the blue one, you will see where Singapore population is swelling. So you can see that we are swelling very largely at the age of your 50 and above. That's where the entire swell is happening. And it tapers down quite a lot on the bottom portion, and that shows the replacement rate is bad, okay? But more importantly, why I drew the line across, because that is the main categories of where Singapore population is currently standing. And this group of people are your prospective buyers. I would say that they fall lower from your 35 to 40 plus, maybe even the late 20s. The 50s, 60 plus and above, you are seeing them shying away from the market a bit recently, unless it's product specific. Other than that, you are seeing that the main swelling is all on the 30 plus, 40. So why am I saying this? This will lead us to the next question here. So now we know how Singapore is faring in terms of their population statistics. Let's look at the next one. Who are the millennials? We use this word so loosely, but do you really know what comprise of the millennials, right? So let's look at who thinks you are a millennial. Who thinks you are a millennial? A lot of, no, okay, I won't say that. Huh? So let's look at this. No fixed definition on millennials all this while. There are really no fixed, because I went through a lot of websites to see a lot of the research houses. Nobody could give a fixed definition, but the general term here used is for the early 1980s, those who are born in early 1980s, all the way to your late 1990s and the early 2000s. I'm a millennial. I'm 1983, so I fall just nice into the millennial. Okay, so let's look at this. I saw an interesting one. US have this Pew Research Center, which is a very huge research company that's providing loads of data into the internet. So they actually have a new guideline to set where the millennials actually fall into. So you can see over here, I bold the thing. Millennial, they actually set it from 1981 all the way to 1996. Okay, these are the few guidelines of the generations of people that we have seen across the many years. The first one are what we call the silent generation. I don't know why they name it a silent generation. Probably they don't have a lot of access to communication and everybody is just living in their own house. Okay, second one, you call it the baby boomers. That's the time where the population was swelling all across the world. Enjoying process, enjoying the result also, this batch. And then you have your Generation X, millennials, and your post-millennial. So let's look at the characteristic. And I asked myself this question, what actually draws these different segments of people? Is it just because this period, what is the criteria to set off that, hey, you belong to this generation, I belong to this generation? And I choose to, since we are in this topic about our marketing and stuff, right? I choose to use a guideline of technology to draw a guideline. Meaning to say, the reason why we have to set a 1981 to 1996, it doesn't really mean that you have to be that age group. It is just for research and presentation purpose. We will look at this, and we'll see using technology as a guideline on how we separate these generations. The first generation, which we call the silent generation, I term it myself, what is technology? I don't think there's even a mention of technology in this era. Second one, which is the baby boomers, where TV is dominant. Right? During this era, I think mostly of our parents' age, about 55 to 73 years old now, TV was the mainstream of media for them, the mainstream of communication, even though it's a one-way, but TV is dominant in that era. Generation X is when you see people experiencing the computer revolution. So it was also during that time, since I said I was in 1983, right? When I still remember and I recall when we were still in the primary school period, that's when houses have these bulky computers using Windows and stuff, right? So that is when they have gone through a revolution. And then now we talk about the millennials. Internet is the way of life. I think this is a very important statement to be looking at this group of people, because this group of people coincidentally into Generation X and millennials, these two groups of people coincidentally is where the swelling up of Singapore's population is. And coincidentally, this group of people are also your buyers in the market that are purchasing on a very large percentage now. So understanding how they have run through their generation will also depict how you should target these people. Right? So we have people who are experiencing computer revolution. We also have people who are, in my age, internet is the way of life, nothing else. And can we say that people in Generation X are also using internet for their way of life? Yes. They are not in the era, but they have adapted because they have to. So you can see that people of 54 adapting, probably not as skilled as the millennials, but they have adapted, they are using. And the younger ones, they have definitely adapted into things, which is why I say the age is actually just a guideline, but there's a very gray area into how it falls within. So what is after millennials? They call it the strawberry generation. So, but it's the post-millennials. I just use a term when the iPhone was introduced, the oldest member in this generation would have been 10 years old. So this one will actually show you that the oldest member in this segment, right, when they were born, iPhone was already out. Meaning to say, these people are not just about internet, these people are about a lot of gadgets, a lot of communication, right from the moment they are into this world. And we are seeing the trend now, right? The trend that we saw now, that we are seeing now is what? In order to keep your kids quiet, what is the magic tool? iPads, phones, and that's about it. And he can be quiet for the next 2 hours. And that's how they are being introduced into the world, right? So we will not talk too much about post-millennial. Let's focus back into the millennials and let's see and understand Singapore in the digital sense. How is it like, right? I took off some slides from Hashmeta, one of the Singapore social media company. Their stats, you can see the sources came from quite a number of places. So their population is wrong. They are writing at 5.8 million, but based on SingStat is 5.6. So I choose to believe in SingStat as a government body, but it's quite close. So you can see over here that out of the 5.8 million, we have 3.3 million of Singaporeans who are already internet users and mobile social media users. Our penetration rate across, I think in 2017, Singapore's penetration rate into social media and social network, right, was only about 80%. I saw one chart, we are probably the third highest penetration in the world in terms of internet and social media. Probably because our country is smaller, our population is smaller, and also one main reason is the infrastructure in Singapore for internet is probably the top in the world. There's one chart that says that also. So you can see 85 penetration rate, and these two figures are really important because if up to this date, your marketing techniques and how you are communicating with your clients are still not involving 85 penetration rate method in terms of internet, property portals, social media, WhatsApp, something is wrong. Because you are missing out a good 85% of this target audience, and we're talking about the entire population in Singapore, you're missing out a good 3.3 million target audience that you can be reaching out to. Okay, next thing, 50% of the millennials like to comment and like on a friend's post daily. Whether they really like it or not is another thing, but we do this every single day. As agents, we are even worse. I think about 100% of us are like that. Every morning we wake up, first thing we see our phone, check the appointment, next thing is on Facebook. Like. Hope that people notice you, comment. Okay, so this is the thing. Why is this statistics also important? You know that in the millennials, right, with this social media culture and this co-living, co-working culture, there's a lot of lack of boundary now and barriers for them to want to share. The sharing culture is strong within millennials because it's so easy to share something. And this is the part that I need all of you to know. So I'm picking up different stats to tell you, drop hints on different matters of what you should be doing. 50% if they like to share on social media and so on and so forth. Are you missing out asking them the golden question of referral? Because they like to share, everybody is watching, whether they like or they don't like, they're watching what these people are buying, where are they going to, who are they talking, which agents are they engaging. This sharing culture is strong. How many of you in your WhatsApp do not just simply have individual chats, but you have multiple or probably hundreds of group chats? Every single thing can set up a group chat. Today I want to share some secret that I don't want some people in the group chat to know. I set up a mini group chat. So this group chat sharing culture is strong, and I feel agents, you should know that referral is a very huge part of your business now, more than ever before, because one recommendation out reaches a huge number of network that they have. So go out there, and every person you meet, every sales you're going to do, don't forget to always ask for the referral, because you will hit something one day, right? So I built a lot of my peripheral networks on referral, with law firms, with bankers, with friends, with even private bankers in Hong Kong, with even agency bosses in China, and these are networks that we need because the sharing culture is very, very strong. Okay, and of course, 1 in 10 of millennials learn of new products via advertising. I think they're flooded. I believe it's even more than this. They're flooded with a lot of information. Next one, we want to see the behavior of internet users in Singapore. 7 out of 10 Singaporeans are active social media users, and this statistics is 3 times more than the world average. And this is again important to let you know that social media is a very huge platform, probably not exactly extremely huge in Instagram now, but in the future it will start to creep up. Because we know for Instagram marketing, right, that Facebook is probably bringing leads. Your Instagram is probably having a lot of younger profile people. But not forgetting, if we are in this trade for the next 5 to 10 years, these younger profile Instagrammers are coming up to be well equipped to be in a purchasing power age to buy something. So these are things you should be looking at and planning forward instead of just chasing after what is happening now. Of course, and this is interesting. So what is the highest penetration of all the social leading networks? We can see WhatsApp is definitely number 1. I've seen a lot of divisions, a lot of agencies trying to switch this mode of communication in Singapore. Right? How many people are trying to use Telegram? Some people are using Slack. Some people are using WeChat. Some people are using all these different modes. But I would dare to say that most of the times, everybody shift back to WhatsApp. Because this communication between companies or agents can be switched, but the communication with the mass people of where your consumers are cannot be switched. So when you have a break and a change in communication mode, it's not going to work, which is why you see a 73% of WhatsApp. And this is really important because a lot of the follow-ups that we do, a lot of the information sending nowadays, we are using WhatsApp. How many of you are still sending information to your client via email? Surprisingly, I still have agents doing that. I mean, it's a professional way of doing things, but the problem is millennials don't care about professionalism in terms of communication. They want fast, they want on the go. You send them through emails, they'll probably miss it because recently emails are becoming junk. So these are things. Change your mode of communication with the penetration of how you see millennials are reacting. Your e-brochures can be sent through WhatsApp. Your prices breakdown and everything can still be WhatsApp. So these are things we are looking at, okay? And of course, YouTube come out as very strong. Marketing in that area has not been really fully explored, but it is one of a very high penetration social network in Singapore. Of course, Facebook, and then the rest will drop off by half. You have your Instagram and the rest. So next, let's look at the Facebook statistics. Our population is 5.63 million, and we have a total of 4.8 Facebook users in Singapore. That's where your 85% penetration rate will be. And out of this, only 53% are using your Facebook Messenger. So this is the other part. When you see there's a 53% of people using Facebook Messenger, then communication via Facebook Messenger may not be as viable as using and shifting your buyers back into WhatsApp. So for example, if you have a lead on social media that's communicating with you through Facebook Messenger, I choose to believe I will always want to swing him back to WhatsApp, getting the number so that information flow will be fast. I check my Facebook Messenger even though I'm digital. I check my Facebook Messenger probably like once in every 3-4 weeks, months. I don't even open it. So this is the thing you want to see. And these are the statistics in terms of numbers, okay? So you can see that the huge portion of people using Facebook, again, ties in with the age group that we are targeting. A swell from 25 to 34, and then a big percentage in 35 to 44, and still quite a substantial number from 45 to 54. The younger ones are probably not that important now, but you can see a very, very big percentage of about maybe 60 to 70% of your target audience are on social media, right? So we look at Instagram, penetration not as high, 51%. LinkedIn, even lower. I won't want to touch on too much. I have only 10 minutes left. YouTube is the one that is really interesting. How many of you in today do not even look at on your channel who is the latest Channel 5 actors or actress? I don't think you even know. Even for myself, when I was living in Cuba with my current wife now, ex-girlfriend, for 1 year, our TV is not connected to even the antenna. It's always YouTube, Sing China, dramas, and then probably set up boxes where you can have HBO and stuff. So this is the part where I think a lot of developers, when we speak to them, are facing this problem as well. And this is a very general trend. Buyers nowadays are so elusive that you cannot even catch them at a certain area, right? Last time we can just, remember I showed you the baby boomers part where it's TV dominant. TVCs are going to run like crazy. It's effective enough to reach out the messages. Today, if you want to run a TVC, should I be running on Channel 5, 8, or HBO, or Fox Movies Premium, or the Chinese channel? You have 100, 200 over channels. Which is the correct channel? YouTube, where are they? This is how elusive the entire population, the buying power population is in Singapore. So even on YouTube, which channel? What kind of genre? How should I appear? That's how dissected the market is, and I feel a lot of study needs to be in this, and a lot of trying out in different methods have to be explored by agents. It's easy access, it's not really expensive, especially with what Zach has been saying, that higher rewards now makes even more sense for you to be exploring new methods, right? I won't bore you with the stats, but you can see that people on the average spends about 2 hours on live video just by using their phone. My wife probably spends more than that, maybe about 15, 16 hours a day when she's hooked on the show, right? Okay, so these are the stats. 73% on WhatsApp, 4 million that is using this. You can see the age group as well. There's a very huge percentage of people that we are targeting using this. And then now, let's look at 7 in 10, this is the Business Times article that came out. Just now I said triple, but it's double the global average. And that's the reason why if we are working in Singapore as a real estate agent, I think there's even a higher need, probably double the need than anybody in the world to be using digital and social media for your marketing. So let's talk now. Let's zoom into the part that you're interested in, marketing to millennials. I wouldn't even use this word marketing to millennials. I'll probably use how are we speaking to this main bulk of buyers that we're looking at, speaking to millennials. Let's first understand their traits. The traits I listed them down this morning, and I think I didn't find this from any research. I took it out from my own head. So the bottom source is something that I forgot to remove. So let's see. Number 1, traits of millennials in today's market is that they're hungry for information. Hungry for information purely because they have the ease of finding them, right? So why am I saying this first point? Today, if I'm going to go through my conventional marketing methods, say like mailers for a new launch, or maybe even developers are doing ad mail across the whole Singapore for new launch, or maybe even TVC, and maybe newspaper ads, right? Big ads. These kind of platforms don't give you comprehensive information enough. It's always very general. And the traits of millennials is they are always hungry for information because they have the ease to information. And if a developer send out 1 million ad mail across the whole of Singapore, the very natural thing where a millennial pick it up and he's interested in the general fact is they'll go into Google. They will search for information because they are looking for it. So this is the part where if you have been touching on internet or social media, there's a very good chance that you're funneling a lot of big budgets A&P by developers of about 2-3 million, or maybe even your colleagues who are not into digital running ad mails, hyping on the ground. You're going to funnel all these leads and hype that was created through these traditional methods into your pocket if you have exposure out there. You get what I mean? So same thing if today on Facebook, even though it's a push app, right? People are not searching for information, they are just on a leisure mode. But then I have, probably last night I was going for dinner, somebody passed me a mailer and said, hey, I'm launching, say, Treasures, right? I wasn't interested. But then there's a second time awareness that come up when I'm serving Facebook, Treasures came out again. Probably a third time, fourth time it came up. When I'm in the loop of this communication awareness, this branding awareness, I funnel this kind of hype that's created on the market into my pocket. And that's why agents have a very strong need to understand their traits and why you should be doing your marketing in that sense. Let's look at the second one. They are attracted to new, innovative content. So like I say, what do I mean by that? You know, there are a lot of people doing your Amazon e-commerce and everything on social media now. And it can be a very simple tweak of a product that will interest you. So for example, what is a good example? So for example, today I have a laser pointer, but now this laser pointer has an extra function of maybe 3 different lights. Example, it will catch their attention, and because it is new, innovative, they appreciate such stuff. So how is it going to link to agents marketing? Today, you may find it, or maybe you're already doing digital, you're already doing your Facebook, social media, PropertyGuru, all this, I have to mention PropertyGuru, right? So all these portals and all these methods that you're using, a lot of you are using for the sake of using because people say we need to use it. But are you then creating innovative and creative content to stand out above the rest? Are you? In Facebook marketing, like I say, are you doing something special? I've seen so many campaigns of agents where they just say, new launch in Tampines, that's it, one-liner. There's no even heart and soul in writing a content to do a proper ad out. So my point here is that we know that the millennials are attracted to new innovative content, and if everybody is doing it, not the mainstream, why, and you're spending money for it, why don't do justice to yourself and spend a bit more time thinking of on the other side of how a content would have attracted you and what you should be writing, what photos you should be using, what kind of things you should stand out. And if you are just going to throw in money like that, I'd rather you don't do it because you are really throwing money down the drain in all different portals that we are talking about. Right, so the third one is they like easy to read content. Agree? That's why a lot of shares are being shared on content on Facebook, like what? 5 secret places to eat in Serangoon, right? Or the top 5 below $50 all-you-can-eat buffet in Singapore, or credit card promotions that gives you 1-for-1 in buffet. So this kind of compiled list of information catches millennials' idea a lot. Because why? They are constantly on their phone, they're constantly searching for things, they're constantly being bombarded and flooded with information. So compiled, easy to read content attracts them, and you can start to think, this is a hint, so start to think along the line of how your marketing methods can move along the same line. Remember the infographics that I showed you just now? Was it easier to digest than just words that you read from the internet? And which is why infographic becomes so popular in today's market. Even the government agencies are using it heavily because that's where information gets passed on, the attraction is there, and that is targeting your millennials who wants summary because of information overload, right? Let's look at the next one. Impatient. Millennials are extremely impatient, especially in, for example, if today you know there's a shift in how the vehicle of how you run your websites, right? Last time, it used to be a very heavy content website, and it has shifted to today what we call landing pages, where you scroll probably 5-6 times and the page is over. Very basic information, and that's good enough for them. So why is there this shift from websites to landing pages? The state of mind of a millennial using Facebook, since he's always probably 10 hours on Facebook, he is not in a state of mind to be looking for information. If you're going to throw him an ad and it leads to a very complicated, heavy information website, he will exit before even finishing your website. And that's where, because the state of mind is there, he wants fast information. Your landing page have to be short, sharp, sweet, that will attract him to want to inquire. And this is the trait of a millennial where they are impatient. So similarly, on a different state of mind, today if I'm searching for information on the internet, say I'm Googling for treasures, since we are talking about treasures, right? So I'm Googling, and if you use a Google Ads and you end me up with a landing page, am I going to be happy or not? Why? Because I'm in a state of mind to search for information now, and you are not pushing the ad to me, right? I'm searching for it. So I would rather and appreciate a full-scale website that has all the different types of floor plans and everything, so that I get the information I want. If you give me a landing page, I tell you, you are wasting your money again. Because why? After scrolling three scrolls on your landing page, I'll go to the next website to find a better information again. So this is important because understanding the state of mind, understanding the different vehicles you are using, how you should act to it, is so huge a topic that I say I cannot cover today. That's why it's so big. It's not just that. Okay, so let's move on. My time is up already. Lisa is probably a millennial, so she's impatient already. Okay, leveraging channels. What do I mean by leveraging channels? Okay, this is a bit too broad. I go to the next one first. Fast mode of communication. So when we talk about fast mode of communication, it means that today, okay, so let me ask you, I want to do a very quick summary and just participate just this one question. Today, if I have a website, you're looking for information, I have 3 modes of communication for you to touch base with me. One is through the inquiry form, right? Second one is through a link where I click and I WhatsApp you directly. And the third one, a number for you to call. Who will choose the inquiry form? None. Who will then choose to WhatsApp me directly? Okay, and who will call? Okay, so this is something that I've always wanted to find out. I always choose to guess that as the trend of us using social media and our handphones so often, right? There's a trend that we all become keyboard warriors, where we choose not to go into a communication, live communication with someone so that we have very fast communication. Instead of going into an interaction, a lot of people choose to hide behind a screen to text something so that they protect themselves in that sense. And just now with the show of hands, we have a good 90% of people raise their hands for WhatsApp communication. Probably 4 hands raised for calling, and 0 hands was raised for inquiry form. So this is the part where we are talking fast mode of communication. If your website is still running purely based on an inquiry form, it probably will not work. You add on the WhatsApp link, you add on a call button, it'll probably work better. And that's how Guru has also, I have to keep bringing Guru. So that's how Guru has also changed the mode of communication. And now, the leads that come in through Guru for inquiries, I receive a lot more on WhatsApp. You agree? Are you receiving more on WhatsApp also? So this shift is necessary. So if a company is reading such things, we are all self-employed, you are also like a own portal, you need to understand these points. Your website, WhatsApp buttons, ease of communication needs to be there. Which is why I start to see a lot of Facebook campaigns are running on Messenger objective where people click and message immediately instead of inquiry form. So these are things that we want you to read and not confine and cage to specific domains. What do I mean by this? I have about 10 slides, but I'll skip through the rest, okay? 10 more slides. But I'll skip through the rest very fast. Okay, let me go and I finish this part first. So, what do I mean by not confined and caged to specific domains? Meaning to say, today, millennials are running all over the place. They're running all over the places. They can be traveling, staying in Jurong and traveling to Tampines just for good food, good breakfast. Because why? Information comes in, they get this idea. So they do not like to be confined and caged to specific domains. And this is the part which I'm telling you that you cannot just use purely just based on one mode of marketing to be talking to your consumers. Because if you ask me today, is pay-per-click better? Google AdWords better? Is PropertyGuru better? Or is it Facebook better? Is mailers better? Is SMS better? Is WhatsApp better? There's no answer. Nobody can tell you which is the best because they are unpredictable, which is my last point, right? They're unpredictable, they shift, they move, they choose their way of communication in that sense. And the sharing culture is what I talked about just now. So let's look at this. I break down our sales flow into very simple 4 stages. Understanding their traits will now then lead us to how we want to run our sales flow. Like I say, this topic is so huge that I can probably spend maybe half an hour on each of the part on using the millennials trait and reacting according to the same way. So leads generation, definitely number 1. Leads generation or listing generation is definitely the first part of our sales mode. Without this, we don't need to talk about sales, right? Without this, you are like a singer without an audience sitting there. You can sing to nobody, right? After your leads and listings are there, you have to present. After you present, you do your follow-up, and after you follow up, you do your conversion. I want to just tell you very simply here that all the traits that we have been talking about, all the statistics we have seen, how the population trends are running that I've shown you at the start of the presentation, will determine how you act in every single stage, not just purely in lead generation. Even in how you do your presentation, even in how you do your follow-up, and even in how you do your conversion. You get what I mean? So I want you to remember all the different traits and the stats that we saw. And when you are into different stages of your sales process, I want you to sit down and have a good thinker Are you communicating, reacting, presenting, converting on how the millennials want it, or are you missing out all these figures? If you're missing out, you're probably not going to make the sale. That's how simple yet complicated our trade is. So let's talk about the first one, which I spent quite a bit of time talking about it. We just have to look through this. Most of marketing, there's no secret to most of marketing. Nobody, I always tell agents, nobody has a leads generating machine at home that generates leads every day. Don't have. Everybody is doing the same thing. It's just how you do it differently, how you react to the correct target audience correctly, and how more you do than other people, right? So same things like mailers, SMS, emails, hyping, roadshow, search engines, Facebook, Instagram, property portals are quite standard that we are using. So this is the point I'm talking about. I can tell you the first 1, 2, 3, and probably even 4 are still generating good leads. People are still closing from it because they are traditional methods. And I wouldn't be surprised to see that these methods in future may reverse and react better than internet. I'm starting to see a bit of this shift now. Very, very small shift. But I'm seeing people selling more from hyping roadshow starting this year. I don't know why, but that's how we are. Millennials are like that. We used to like very small phones. Then we like very big phones. So the shift is always, the cycle is always there, right? The iPad used to be the smaller the better, and then now the bigger the better. Next time you'll probably be carrying a TV-sized iPad around. So your phones are the same. Last time we used to carry this Ericsson, the V, don't know what, flip phone, banana, small, and you cannot even reach your mouth. And now people want as big as possible, your Note, your iPhone X Max, right? So these are the things. And I believe for all the years we have been doing, the first 4 methods are actually awareness created by people that funnel into the digital agent's pocket. This has always been the case. You all realize? And that's where your digital millennials all shoot up in terms of productivity, and you realize that a lot of the top producers, top money-making agents in all the agencies falls into your millennial age. Because they understand what millennials want, they act according to millennials, they are grown up in the internet age, and they are digital. So that is a very big trend we are seeing, right? And again, like I say, this shift may come back, because the other trend I saw was when the phones came out, we were very we are very happy with SMS. Remember? SMS was so popular and millennials reacted. We shifted our marketing into SMS blast, right? We send a lot of messages, we make so much money from it. Last time, we post a newspaper ad, we get 30, 40 calls, 50 calls a day. Now we don't get it. So SMS used to be so popular until smarter phones came out. That's where people got so excited that, wow, now I can check email on my handphone. And everybody start to ignore SMS blast because they are not going to reply. They got so many messages uncleared in SMS last time. Remember how many messages you don't clear in SMS because of all the ads that you receive? Then when email marketing came out, everybody started email, and it worked for a very short period of time effectively, extremely effective, because people were happy to see images now. They can see pictures, more information rather than just an SMS. And now you try email advertising, again, it is gone. I can tell you the shift is here. I have 0 unread SMS in my phone now, but I have probably 10,000 unread emails in my phone in my phone now. And last time it used to be the other way around. So this is the shift. And so today what I'm saying will probably change in 3 months' time or so, maybe 6 months, maybe a year. But the end point here is to let everybody understand that millennials are really undecisive. They are always changing. And the trends are something you need to catch. And you need to start reacting to that. But before all this, you need to start moving into digital to run your business. Not fully. Observe whether the traditional are coming back, which we are observing. If it's coming back, start to go in faster than the rest. And that's how the shift is always running. And I can even go deeper into marketing. But we really don't have time. Like I say, to understand millennials, it's not just about, okay, I need to do digital now. I'll just go and do my Facebook, internet marketing, and that's about it. You're wrong. Like I say, your vehicle of marketing needs to be tailored to the mode of people you're looking at. Your marketing content, your marketing copy, writing, everything has to be tailored towards this millennial. And if you are not even covering this deeper into marketing segments and you're not using millennials traits to attract them, you are really wasting money just by saying you are going to digital, right? And of course, the mode of communication is another method. Like I'm saying, nobody is using emails nowadays, okay? Unless it's for your tenancy, you need some black and white paper trail, by all means do that. Right? Other than that, fast mode of communication, we are still moving to WhatsApp, right? And I actually wanted to talk about presentation, follow-up, and conversion is a bit hard. I just quote you one example. Last time when I give seminars, buyers will come and ask me, is this product good? Can I buy this product? Today, the buyers that are coming up to me are asking me, hey, Ken, I have 3 properties that I've been holding on for the past 10 years. But I realized that I don't make any cash out of it. I've been holding on. I have rental, but my rental is paying the installments, but I don't see how am I making, I'm not happy with my property investment, even though I'm proud to say I have 3 properties. So he asked me this question. How can I change my portfolio? Can you decide for me? All these 3 properties, you decide for me. I want to see money, and that's my endpoint. So I have people coming up to me say, Andy, I want to have a positive surplus of 2,000 because why? I bought a property in Philippines that is 2,000. I want you to use it to offset. So you see the questions that we are facing and the things that are running in the mind of millennials nowadays, and these people are all that 30 plus 40 on, is that they don't need to ask you whether this product is good anymore. Why? Because they know the product is good. They study master plan themselves. They read up on the internet itself. Agents, you all have been blasting all the master plan news and everything. Statistics are available in the internet. Even developers, they throw out Brand Insider. There's so much statistics inside the master plan changes. Even Guru coming out with articles. They have all these things that are covered. So buyers are no longer going to ask you, is the product good? Because what they want to know now is something deeper, which is why I say, if you understand this point, you will dig deeper into a lot of consultation services and you can target these people better. Because if not, you will sound like a broken recorder. And I will safely say 80% of agents today are doing the same thing. Because you are trained in product, you talk about product. When you follow up, you use product-centric to follow up. You push product to follow up. When you want to sell something, you repeat and sound like a broken recorder onto why this place is good to buy, why you should buy this place, blah, blah, blah. It's not going to work. It's not going to work because they have this information. So think about it. Change the way of this part where I'm talking, your presentation, your follow-up, your conversion. It's not purely about product-centric now. It's not about the master plan, purely about master plan now. Something is deeper than that. You need to be, the questions that I ask you, that I say buyers were asking me, think about it. How will you answer this thing? More details. How will you answer this? So I want you to. I hope everybody can shift their way of targeting millennials and the way of your business in the next 5 years, maybe even 10 years, looking into these trends, looking into how these things are running, and understanding the mindset before you penetrate the market. If not, you will really waste a lot of time, effort, your morale will be down, and you won't be happy. So I have the last few slides, is fast. This is something interesting to me. Online advertising represents 14.7% of total expenditure in Singapore. This is interesting because it means we are not advertising enough online. We are not spending enough marketing dollars in the correct areas as compared to the other countries. Like in Japan, you have 25.9%, and in China, it's already 53.6%. And China is huge. And so China, you can see how IT-based they are, and I think Singaporeans, even especially in our industry, we need to start working digital. And this is something I always like to quote to all agents. A lot of people like to ask whether technology will replace agents. I would say not now. I wouldn't say not indefinitely. Definitely not now, not in the next 5 to 10 years, not now. It will not replace real estate agents, but it will replace those who do not embrace it, really. If you are not even touching a single bit of digital or even asking around or moving, you will be replaced, not because of technology, you will be replaced by agents who have embraced technology. And that's the brutal fact that we are facing now. And this is the part. I end off by one of my favorite quotes. A lot of agents will sit down and complain that market, saying that market is bad, my marketing is not working, my Facebook, even I try, they say it's good, but it's not working, my internet, I spend so much money, it's not working. Look deeper, the content, the photos, your mode of communication, the way they can communicate with you, your follow-ups, are you doing the correct way? So to me, it's simple. I choose to believe I'm the realist. I adjust my sales every time it's not working, which is why we are able to tell you all these stats and how the market trends are like. It's not because we went through a master degree on that. It's because every single day we are adjusting our sales. We are looking at why these are not moving, why my sale is not running, and that kind of knowledge will bring you far. Focus on your process, not focusing on the end result. Don't be the pessimist that complains about the win, and don't be the optimist to say that the market will pick up, it will change. Because if your methods don't change, the market pick up, you are still behind. So with that, I will end my 40 minutes slides. Thank you.